All right. Well, it's 40 years since Conan the Barbarian, the 1982 version with Arnold Schwarzenegger, came out. My favorite movie of all time. Very critical and meaningful to me. The age I was when I saw it, just starting out as a teenager and, getting really into weightlifting. And, of course, Arnold was like a hero and an influence on weightlifting. And as the years have gone by in the movies and some of the things he said, that's only become more true. The 82 version of Conan is not like the books. It had some of the, of course, sense of adventure and some of the cruelty and violence that was imagined in that and real, perhaps in an imagined world of an era of a bygone time, imagined by Robert E. Howard. And so, seeing that movie really pointed a direction in my life as far as weightlifting and even some of that leather armor that you may see sometimes, the head pieces and the wristbands and things that I made. And the influence of Conan and that whole thinking. And I used to do a lot of hiking and, collecting of swords and, sort of the warrior thing and admiring that sense of adventure in life. And so here it is, 40 years later, and now some really fine toys have been released about that. And the movie is not just a simple sword and sorcerer movie. It's a movie about love. And in the beginning of the movie, and the movie's not for small children, for sure. Definitely parents need to consider whether or not to allow their, under 17 children to watch this R-rated movie. But the movie starts out with the father talking to his son and telling him that the only thing in life you can trust is steel, this sword that the father has made. And as it turns out, the only thing in life that Conan could trust was love. And that's the message of the movie that maybe is missed in all the sword and sorcery and violence. So when they talked about releasing these toys, and they're not cheap, I thought, well, is it really, worth it to spend this much money? And I thought, if I can't afford these toys easily, after 40 years, that's ridiculous. And I can. And so I purchased them, and they're going to mean a lot to me. So here's the box that just arrived today from the Big Bad Toy Store. And I'm going to open these. Open this box and then open the contents therein. So here we go. I know there's a such thing as unboxing videos, which, I've never watched one. It's kind of silly to me, but, people like what they like. So here is the box, and it is covered. And this is made from Mattel, and it is in the same style as the He-Man classic online versions, which are very exclusive. They were pretty much exclusive to online, although I did find some in GameStop and even in Big Lots. But they would come in a brown cardboard box to protect the contents inside. And so I do have a lot of those He-Man figures as well, which of course we will be looking at one day. I'm not ready to open these yet. So, all right. So then it comes wrapped inside plastic again. So now I've never seen that before. The He-Man is not wrapped also in plastic, so the outside of the box doesn't get scratched. but I can understand that because I could see that the box is made like in a faux leather covering. So let's gently, carefully cut that open and then pull this out. And the scene of the movie where Conan has basically come back from the dead, and he's going to get revenge against his nemesis, Thulsa Doom, who crucified him. He then goes back into the lair of Thulsa Doom in the Mountain of Power, and he has makeup all over his body to camouflage. And that is the makeup that he's wearing in this action figure. And there's a jacket on here, which is tight. I'm assuming it slides off. I don't see any tape. This is not going easily. Interesting. All right, so it's sliding out now. And here we are. And there it is. So, and there it is, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan figure. And Conan the Barbarian. And it comes with two heads. It comes with his sword. And the sword has blood on it. And you know, I don't promote violence on this show. I'm not in favor of that kind of thing, but it is a fact of adventure movies and even action figures. So there you are. There's Conan, and comes with two heads. So, you know, the yelling head you can see. All right, and then the serious head. All right, and then I'm going to show you Thulsa Doom, which was played by James Earl Jones. And for me, you know, a lot of people, the iconic figure of Darth Vader, you know, James Earl Jones is what people really identify him with. That's one of the things. And but this is, for me, the one that I identify him most with, because of course he was not in a big suit. You know, you got to actually see James Earl Jones, and his, you know, very deep voice, very memorable in both those movies. And so this box is also like, it's like bound in snakeskin, which Thulsa Doom can turn into a snake. So now that one comes out much easier. And it's got multiple hands. So this was $90, and then after taxes and shipping, it was $100. But you could see it's got two heads. You've got Thulsa Doom's head, then you have, well, let's see, actually you have halfway snake head here where he's transitioning, and then you have full snake head there, and multiple hands, right? And you got this dagger here, which was prominent also in the movie, and then the bow that was used against Conan's love of his life, Valeria, and also the princess. So that's quite a lot that you get. So for, you know, $100, not bad. Hopefully they'll come out with a Valeria. I've not seen ever a Valeria figure, so that would be great. But anyway, so this is, you know, I waited 40 years for this, and you know, if you're old enough and you want to see Conan the Barbarian again, they did, it was shot in mono, and they have remastered the Blu-ray in stereo. Definitely worthwhile. And the Blu-ray, I believe, is also has the extended version only, and it's definitely worth it to see the extended version because it has a couple of scenes in there and just the emphasis of the scenes that really make the point of certain religious allegories that one can infer from the movie, and that's not really a subject for this, but for one to look at and see maybe some of the double meanings in it. So it's a very philosophical movie. They actually started the script 3 years before. Ridley Scott actually wrote a script for it. He's the one that wrote Aliens, the first Aliens movie. It went to Martin Scorsese. He also wrote a script for it, and they just kept trying, and they ended up I don't remember now who they ended up going with, but they took elements from they definitely were trying to do something different than the books. The books are not philosophical. It's just a guy who's anti-magic, and he's very powerful, and he has a sense of code of honor, and he just goes out and he rids the world of a lot of evil his way by the might of his hand and this, his sword. But the Conan movie, 82, a very philosophical movie. 84, Conan the Destroyer, they left that and they went more for just an adventure. It's a PG movie. And then Jason Momoa, they remade Conan the Barbarian, and more true to the books, not such a deep meaning. But I like that movie too. It's not for me on the same level, the personal level. And there are some scenes in the 82 Conan that are, I think, most people that saw that movie would find them quite unforgettable. It just packed a punch, and I remember seeing it in the theater in the audience, and when Arnold is pushing the wheel of pain, he's pushing it for years. It's this big grain grinding wheel, and he's pushing it. And actually, Arnold was so strong, it's gigantic. They actually had to have people on the other side pushing against him because he was so strong. It was easy for him to push it. And they didn't show his face yet. And then, he's pushing this wheel, and you see his muscles in his back and, his arms and everything pushing against all different weather conditions. And then when he lifts his head up and the music crescendos, and the people in the audience, and I'll never forget, they just started yelling out and cheering, just seeing Arnold. And this was Arnold's first really big movie. He'd been in some movies before that. Even, I think, 68 was Hercules in New York, or the original title was Hercules Goes Bananas. And Stay Hungry was a movie with Sally Field and Jeff Bridges. He was in that movie before that. And he won a Best Actor, Golden Globes, I think. Arnold won that. But Conan, was the first big movie, and I believe it made like $36 to $40 million, which in 1982 was a pretty big deal, especially for a sword and sorcerer movie. And the rest, we just got to see what a career Arnold has had since then. And again, as a bodybuilder, someone who appreciates lifting weights and the riddle of steel, the movie was just very iconic for me. And if you want to get these toys, they're still available to order. So anyway, thank you for letting me share this with you, and I will see you later on Toy Talk. Signing out. So I need to make an addendum. The toys are not labeled as Mattel toys. They're labeled from a company, Super 7. However, they are the same molds that are in the Mattel He-Man Classics line. So I don't know what the relationship is there between all that. But anyway, I like to be as upfront and honest as I can and give credit where credit's due. So Super 7. All right. Thanks.